Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on July 4th, 2016. And first of all, to anybody who is in America watching this, happy 4th of July. Hope you guys had a fun and safe one again this year. And, you know, the way they started out this Raw was with, well, what you would expect. 4th of July party, and the typical WWE food fight when everybody's around with food around. And I'll be completely honest with you. Like, there's been tons of food fights that they've had in the past that really had not done much of anything, especially as of late. This is probably the best one I've seen in years from WWE side. I thought everybody kind of played their own little role in this. It seemed like they were having fun with it. I love the aspect of like Kevin Owens hiding under a table throughout the entire thing. You have R-Truth and Goldust trying to do karaoke. They get interrupted by Aiden English and Simon Gotch, and Aiden English actually starts singing himself, and that's where the food fight almost begins. But the Miz tries to stop it before it actually gets going all the way around. You have this little spot with Jericho getting the whole bad food where there was a Band-Aid in the food or something. Like, each thing kind of led to itself there, and it was actually a very fun segment in general. And I like the aspect that they end it with Kevin Owens getting out from underneath the table as everyone's leaving, and Heath Slater got put through the table from Kane and Big Show, and it's like, okay, looks like he got away clean without really getting hit by food, and just a random pie hits him. And I even like the line is he grabs a little bit of food. It's like, you know, this wouldn't even happen on Canada Day. that was kind of fun. That was a kind of funny spot. I liked it. I liked the entire segment. I thought it was fun. Very rare where I'll say a comedy segment outside of like a few others that involved everybody was actually fun, and this one was fun. But onto the rest of the show. They started out with Lillian Garcia singing the national anthem, and then right afterwards, Rusev comes out for his United States title match with Titus O'Neil. And honestly, I thought this match was really, really good. I actually liked this one. This time around, these two guys have kind of garnered a chemistry in the ring together that seems to work. They did it seems to work between the two guys. They make it look like a good slugfest and everything in that aspect. Rusev going over, kind of expected it here. You can't have. They could have given Titus the token win in the U.S. title match and kind of given everybody like a happy moment, but do you risk hurting Rusev by doing that? And they decided not to, so you kind of expected Rusev to go over here. And by the way, just on side note, if you hear like booms in the background, people are still doing 4th of July stuff around here, so I'm kind of just recording this as one of those things. So if that's happening, it's happening. Right after the U.S. title match was the Social Outcast going up against Enzo and Cass. Quick match between them. Heath Slater comes out in a sling and bandaged up after getting chokeslammed through the table. I actually like them putting that added touch in there. And they are dressed up as Minutemen to go along with it. That was a interesting way of going. And you have Enzo come out there before the match. I mean, the match itself was just a quick match, nothing really to it. But the promo from Enzo and Cass, first of all, I've got to fully search to see if he got every single one of them right. But impressive by Enzo by spouting out pretty much every single president's name in order to go along with it. I know many people cannot pull that off in some way, and he does it there right on live TV. You even have Big Cass going like, it's like, that was impressive. I had something, but I'm not going to try to top it. And just goes into his normal spot. I like little things like that. Like I said, the match itself was was really nothing to go along with it. This was more around building Enzo and Cass and continuing on what they did after Enzo and Cass's match from last week on Raw. Up next was Charlotte and Dana. Charlotte was coming out to cut a promo about what was going on, and the jealousy of Sasha Banks and everything like that. So here's that full hint. It's like it's Sasha Banks versus Charlotte somewhere down the road here. So Charlotte cuts a really good heel promo here. I thought it was a very good promo between them. She basically cuts it around, saying Sasha's jealous. She's the best women's wrestler that they have, and everything like that. And then Sasha, of course, interrupts, and the two of them melding together in the terms of a promo was spectacular. I thought they did a really good job here in setting up the initial goings for this feud, and then the fact that they brawl afterwards. Sasha gets Charlotte into the bank statement. Dana has to pull her out. Good way of going. I actually enjoyed this segment. And, like I said, like I was thinking beforehand, it's like, I was probably going to get on this Raw. I was like, yeah, it was a kind of a 4th of July fair and everything like that. And there wasn't much in the terms of story building to the show. And lo and behold, there was a good chunk of story building going on in here, along with everything, especially like with the Charlotte and Sasha Banks, and a couple others that I'll be talking about here in a few moments to go along with it. Up next, you have Miz versus Dean Ambrose. Fun match, but pretty much about the same that you saw from the SmackDown match from Thursday. So not really much to say there. But you have the Rollins and Dean Ambrose stare down afterwards, because Rollins coming out for his match with Dolph Ziggler, and you have them stare down. It looked like you had Dean Ambrose pat him on the back. It's like, okay, go get him. It's like, go get him, kid. And right before Dean Ambrose kind of goes away, he decides, I'm going to run to the ring, so it looks like you're about to have a brawl, and he just like walks out the ring, goes straight to the commentary booth, and well, what you would expect, what you would kind of expect there to join commentary. And they do a nice little spot where he's like even being part with the Spanish booth for a period of time before going back over to Cole, JBL, and Byron. I actually kind of like that spot. I kind of like that one to go along with it. The match with Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, really good match. What you would expect from these guys. Nothing more to say there. They put on a really good match. And of course, Ambrose and Rollins going over in both of those matches to go along with it. So kind of what you would expect. The fact that how they're building the triple threat match at this point. Well, with the two guys that they can build it with Roman Reigns being gone. And you had Rollins cut a promo afterwards saying it's like, we should still make this a one-on-one match, still kind of lobbying for it, but those still makes mention to the triple threat match in some way. And it eventually does lead to the brawl between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins after Rollins starts cutting a promo on Ambrose saying how he's going to take the title from him, and you have Ambrose going like doing like a semi, I wouldn't say joking, but like semi loose promo saying it's like, yeah, how about you have it now? And throws it at him and starts beating him up on the announce table. And it does eventually lead to a dirty deeds on the Spanish announce table. They didn't go through it, but basically right there on the table to give it a little bit more impact to it. Overall, not a bad segment of the show. I thought it was actually very, very enjoyable throughout that entire time. The matches themselves were pretty good, but the aspect of Dean Ambrose putting Seth Rollins not through the table, but getting one over when Seth got one over on him last week, kind of, they're doing the flip-flop where they're not actually winning or losing matches. They're just kind of getting one over on each other at this time going into the triple threat match. So not a bad segment. I thought it came off pretty well. I like the brawl. And we'll see how they continue on with that. They did have Vicky Guerrero come out to promote the whole SmackDown going live. So you had another old general manager come out. Not a bad promo. I like how security takes her off. And you have a backstage segment later where Dolph Ziggler meets up, and there's like, you get the old, like, we have history, and it's like, and he talks to security. It's like, I've never seen her before in my life, and they just haul her off. So all in all, not a bad segment. They kept it kind of short for that one. You had the Golden Truth going up against the Vaudevillians. That was actually kind of set up with a whole interruption from the karaoke from the party. And Golden Truth go over with a new finisher, which was a relatively short match as well, which I don't like with the Vaudevillians here. I I've been one that's always kind of liked them. And it looks like they're unfortunately going to be having jobber status here in the very near future, if not already there at this point. Like I said, this was a rather quick match. And guess what was back for the intro song? It was that creepy bouncing head. That creepy bouncing Goldust head to the subtitles. That was back. Oh boy. But yeah. So we'll... Like I said, you have Breezango down there, but they really didn't do anything. Just kind of melding that one that they're, still kind of having that feud. And like I said, it's unfortunate. It seems like the Vaudevillians here are going to be into a jobber status, and it kind of sucks because those characters were actually pretty good as like his faces and heels down in NXT, and it doesn't look like they're going to get much up here. Like a lot of NXT stars kind of had in the recent future, with the exception of a few. Here. Cena's promo about the club. He was coming out there talking about being disappointed and everything like that, with the fans being disappointed, like how he was disappointed about the match with AJ Styles. And I like the aspect of the club. He calls out the club, and when they come out, I like the aspect of AJ getting about him kind of being whiny and complainy, and how actually it was like he has no friends and everything in that sense, or no one's really protecting him or helping him out because they can't relate to Cena. They can relate to people like the club and everything like that. And I honestly, I like how AJ Styles comes off as a heel. He comes off really good as a heel, and it's very enjoyable with those promos. Probably a lot more than his face promos ever were in the past. But they start surrounding Cena. They start beating him down, and lo and behold, and this one, I like the guys, but this one's random. This one's really, really random because they didn't really have much interaction with the club in any way up until now. But Enzo and Cass come out to clear out the club. And now a 6-man tag match has been made for Battleground, with Cena and Enzo and Cass versus the club. I hope Enzo and Cass don't get the whole aspect of, oh, you're with Cena, and now when he's done with you, you're kind of nothing now type of feel. But I feel like those guys' characters will be fine afterwards. But like I said, this is kind of random. You would figure they would put somebody in there that had some kind of interaction with the New Day recently. Or not the New Day, but the club recently. Like you could have put the Usos in there, or, well, New Day's kind of doing their thing with the Wyatts. I'll talk about that in a few moments here to go along with it. But Enzo and Cass kind of seem like they're a highly popular team, but it's out there. It's out there because, like, where are they in this story? They're kind of just there at this point. It's almost like they are going after the club before they're going after them. It's a little bit weird in this sense. We'll see how everything goes and how they work them into this storyline and everything. But like I said, we'll see where they go with everything. Next match that they had was Becky Lynch and Summer Rae. This match was supposed to happen last week, but Becky Lynch went after Natalya, who was at commentary. This match was a little bit of a sloppy one. This one was not all that good. The fans at times were very, very quiet for this match to go along with it. Hands on their feet. They kind of got behind Becky at certain points, and at the end of the match as well, when the disarmor happened and the afterwards celebration. But otherwise, very quiet and semi-sloppy match. Like, there was a bad-looking botch with a suplex inside of there that made you wonder how hard Becky Lynch fell on her head and everything like that. So, but all in all, like I said, not that good of a match, unfortunately. The one real good thing that they're doing about this is because I kind of liked where they're going with the Becky Lynch and Natalya storyline, at least how they started it off. That they have announced for Battleground that Becky Lynch will go up against Natalya in a match. So you're going to have that for down the road there. So we'll see how they build that story throughout the time. You basically just had Natalya watching on a TV in the back. So we'll see where that goes in the future here. So, now, before we get into the main event of the night, which was not much of anything in the terms of a tag match, well, I'll talk about the elimination tag here in a few moments. You had the New Day, the Wyatt and the New Day promos. These were good. You had a video promo from the Wyatts, like in their abode and everything like that. And, inviting the New Day to come to their area, calling the power of positivity a lie and everything like that. And then New Day's rebuttal later, like they were doing their normal joking, fair, like Xavier's kind of he's kind of having a little bit of fun, but also being extremely serious with everything he's doing to go along with it. And the Wyatts interrupt as they're joking around, as Kofi and Big E are joking around. And the Wyatts is like, you take our invitation and just mock it and everything like that. And calls them a lie. Everything on that aspect is like, come to us and we'll show you the truth. And then when they cut out, it's like Kofi and Big E are like, yeah, we'll just go. And then Xavier is like, gets completely serious with it. And it came off really good. Like, this is something you don't usually see from the New Day in any way of any of the members, is like a serious moment. And talking about is like, these guys are extremely dangerous, this, and all this. And that came off really, really good. It was a nice little subtle change for Xavier was to kind of go into a more serious variation instead of the typical, oh, we're just going to joke around and everything's going to be fine. And it's like, no, these guys are extremely dangerous, and now we just accept their invitation like it's nothing to go to their home. And yeah. So, really good segments. Really good segments. Like I said, you got some storytelling going into some of these matches down the road here, which is something they usually don't do on a 4th of July or the holiday shows to begin with. They kind of hold them off for the next week. And now for the last match of the night, the 16-man elimination tag match. It was dubbed as Team USA versus Team International Alliance. So you had like the Lucha Dragons, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Sheamus, Jericho, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. On one team, you had Kane, Big Show, Apollo Crews, Zack Ryder, the Dudleys, Mark Henry, and Jack Swagger on the other team. So it was a 16-man elimination tag match. And I kind of like how they did everything here. I do kind of like how they did everything here. The one aspect that they did go the whole typical route of, oh, the American team is already on page and everything like that. The team face was already on page, so everything was looking good. And they played the whole role of the Team International. Though the aspect of both teams having heels and having faces to go along with it. So it was a mixed match on both sides. There were heels and faces on both sides here. But Team USA was able to put away their differences, and it's like, oh, we're going to work together. And you had the international team like kind of at odds the entire time, which even did eventually lead to like Cesaro beating up on Del Rio, Jericho, and Kevin Owens throughout the match. Like, it was a fun little match. Obviously means nothing in the terms of storyline towards anybody, but there are certain good points to the match, like the Cesaro and Jack Swagger meeting in the ring and doing the old routine of both of them because they were teammates, doing the "We the People" moment. That was a nice little touch. I was glad they put something like that in there. And they had other nuances to it to go along with it. Eventually, like I said, it breaks down. Another great moment, like you have Kevin Owens do the pop-up powerbomb to Mark Henry. That's a great moment right there, like crazy strength power spot for Kevin Owens in there to go along with it. And of course, he and Sami Zayn kind of fight. They get a disqualification where this is like where they get really weird. Kevin Owens hits Sami Zayn with a chair and gets disqualified. Isn't Owens on Sami Zayn's team, so why would that be a disqualification? And then Kane hits Owens with a chair and gets disqualified. But wait a minute, this guy's out of the match. Whatever. And WWE did the whatever moment. Let's go with it. at that time. It does lead to what you would typically expect. Team USA wins it, all that aspect, because you have to have the feel-good moment at the end of the show with it being a 4th of July show. And they have Zack Ryder get the pin over Sheamus to end the match itself. Again, fun little match, but means nothing in the end because it was kind of more just for a one-night affair as fireworks are going off in the back. As fireworks are going off, that's how they actually ended off Raw. If you hear the popping in the over the microphone. All in all, this holiday edition of Raw, like most of these, with the exception of over the last few years, most of these shows in the past have usually meant nothing at all in the terms of storyline, and in most cases are downright cringeworthy in some cases. But the past few years, like for Labor Days, Memorial Days, Martin Luther King Day ones, and 4th of July shows, they actually have been putting on decent shows here. And this was a good show tonight. You got good. You actually had the typical we're celebrating America's birthday fare to go along with it, but you also had the aspect of storylines being told in the Sasha Banks and Charlotte storyline, the Club Cena storyline. Now Enzo and Cass are going to be a part of it. Rollins and Ambrose had something to go along with there. The New Day and the Wyatt family. Some good stuff to go along with that in the terms of story building, which is something you usually don't see. So all in all, I would actually kind of give this show a thumbs up. It was not a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. Here, it was very enjoyable. It was a very easy watch this time around, and that's always a good thing. So that is my review for Monday Night Raw this week. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And again, for people who watch here in America, continue having a good and safe 4th of July. I hope you had a fun one, and have a great night to everybody. Have a good one, guys.